Hey, Sassy Stuff. It's Georgia here with Emma. We had a huge day of basketball yesterday, and we're just going to go over it real quick. We are going to start with the biggest game in the SEC ever. We had number one Auburn meet number two Alabama. It was definitely a battle to see who the better team was, and Auburn proved that it's them. What did you think about this game?
I mean, Auburn was just completely dominant the entire time. They were better coached. They were tougher. They were more equipped to win here. They controlled the pace throughout the entire game. They built a 9-point halftime lead. They extended that to 59-45 with 13:43 remaining. Alabama, they couldn't hit anything. They shot 5 from 26 from the 3-point range, 27 for 70 overall. They missed 9 free throws. Auburn's defense really prevented Alabama from getting any clean looks, and Alabama just, I don't know, they kind of appeared panicked in the first half. Mark Sears really struggled to generate this offense. So, I mean, they did have that brief comeback. They kind of found a rhythm in the second half, tying it up at one point, but they could never take that lead. And then it fell away from them. So Auburn was the better team here.
Auburn has Janai Brooms, and he had a huge game. He played injured. He had 19 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. And of course, you got to shout out his defense. He did have a few blocks, a few swipes. I will say that I was impressed with Clifford Amore. He did get put out of the game because he was struggling to guard Janai Brooms in the beginning, but he did come back and rebounded really well for Alabama. I think a lot of the rebounds were him, and I think he made a difference. Mark Sears scored 18 points. Grant Nelson had 12 points with 12 rebounds. So the second half was okay. It wasn't great, but Auburn just does not miss. Every single ball, like you would be like, oh, they're going to miss that. And it somehow ended up going in. It was magical, incredible. I will say that I think some of the fouls were tick-tacky. Auburn had a lot of fouls called on them. Caldwell fouled out with only 18 minutes of playing time. Chad Baker-Mazara fouled out. And, it wasn't just Auburn either. They called a lot of tick-tacky fouls in Alabama. What did you think of the refs?
Sometimes for any sport, I kind of just want you to let them play the game. Like if it's a bad foul, absolutely call it. But these ones, like you said, like tic-tacky fouls, I'm just like, just let them play. Let them play. I want to kind of see what happens in the moment. This is a rivalry. They're going to be like rougher with each other. It's going to be a more heated matchup, but you don't need to call something every 5 seconds. So that kind of went a little crazy for me.
It was a really aggressive game. One thing that always makes me laugh as a fellow pale person is Grant Nelson is just so pale that he always looks like he's gotten in a fight with a cat during games because you can see all the scratches on him. And I'm like, that's me because I run into something and I'm like beet red. So that always makes me laugh. But I will say that I was disappointed. I was not disappointed in Alabama fans. Well, during the game I was, but not because of the crowd noise. Game day was at Alabama. And when I tell you I watched all of game day, they were so quiet unless someone was telling them to stand up and cheer. Like they're listening to the announcers talk about them and they're not making any noise. If I was college game day, I'd be like, I'm never going back to Alabama for a basketball game. I'm not. This was so boring.
Oh, they were sleepy. And I was like, guys, you got to make some noise. Pretend like, I mean, they make noise when it's a football game. So I'm like, where is that same energy? And I thought it was so lacking. Now, during the game, I guess they all had some coffee or Red Bull and they perked up and it was great fan noise, especially in the few moments that Alabama did get momentum in that game. They really cheered their team along. So I was proud of them for that in the game after what we saw during game day. But yeah, they were just quiet and I didn't like it. And then also we were texting during the game. And at one point an Auburn player ran off the court and into an Alabama fan. And she got up and like screamed in his face. And I was like, If you're sitting courtside, you
Yeah.
can't be mad about that. So,
And yeah.
I don't know.
And yeah, that was Chad Baker Mazzara that like ran off. And I mean, he's known for being aggressive, maybe isn't the right word. Like he plays aggressive, that's a good thing, but he gets his emotions get the best of him. I don't know what was said. I don't think he said anything to them. Honestly, it looked like he was apologizing. And then all of a sudden they're yelling at them. That was so trashy and embarrassing. Don't sit courtside if you can't handle a player running into you.
Absolutely. I mean, you're on the court. So if
Yeah.
a player comes off, gets pushed off or anything and they hit you, that's just what happens. You're part of the game at that point. My brother used to film the games for Alabama. So he would be one of the camera guys sitting courtside. So, I mean, he's gotten hit a few times. It
I
just
would be so
happens.
excited to get hit by a player. Like,
Yeah.
I get hit. Well, yeah,
So,
I mean, Alabama, they'll play again at Auburn, which should be interesting. The Jungle is a hard place to play. I'm excited to see what Alabama and Nate Oates take away from this. And, you know, maybe they'll be able to get a win on the road against Auburn. Right now, I'm not seeing it, but you never know in the SEC. We also had some other great games. We had LSU versus Oklahoma. LSU won 82-79. Mizzou versus Georgia. Mizzou won 87-74. Arkansas had another chance at a win, but Wade Taylor scored 18 points with 9 assists and kept A&M on a winning streak. That was another beautiful game. We had Vandy almost pull off a win against Tennessee, but Tennessee came back from a 16-point deficit to win the game. One of my favorite players, Zakai Ziegler, just looked amazing again. They won 81-76.
that was a crazy game because Tennessee's defense allowed a season high 44 first half points. So the fact that they were able to come back and win was amazing.
Yeah, the Tennessee team definitely impresses me.
Mhm.
I don't know how far they will get in the tournament, but I do see them winning a, a lot. I don't see them going all the way, but I do see them having a good run. Then we had an amazing upset. Kentucky continues to struggle with unranked opponents. Don't know what that is. It seems like they play great against ranked opponents, except for like a few games, but unranked opponents, they just continue to struggle with. Texas beat Kentucky 82-78. We had obviously one of our favorite players, Trey Johnson, who is an absolute powerhouse freshman. He scored his season best with 32 points, and this ended in a 3-game losing streak for Texas. And then I did want to hit on the Florida versus South Carolina game. Florida obviously won 88-67, but Florida is playing so good. I'm so impressed with them. And I do think that they have a chance to be a 1 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, South Carolina hung around in the first half, but they were completely unmatched in the second. So, I mean, Florida is playing really well. And so moving forward, I think they could, if they get hot at the right time, can make a good run in the tournament.
Yeah, and they play well against the big teams. I mean,
Mhm.
they beat Auburn. They've beaten Tennessee when Tennessee was number 1. They have such great players like Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, Will Richard, and they're just going to go so far. They also had Micah. I know I'm going to say your last name wrong. Michael Logan.
That was
That is not right. I'm so sorry. But he played for the first time since breaking his leg 11 months ago in the SEC title game. Welcome back. Welcome back to the game. He gave up his redshirt season because they don't have Alex Condon or Sam Alexis in the game due to injuries. So that is always impressive to see from players give up their red shirt to keep the team going. But yeah, I'm so impressed with this Florida team. I think they're going to do so great. And I think people should just not count them out yet.
Now, we do have women's basketball today. So who are you watching?
So there are tons of great women's basketball games going on today. We have number 15 Tennessee versus Ole Miss, Florida versus Mississippi State, Vandy versus Auburn, Oklahoma versus Mizzou. Georgia Amore will lead Kentucky against Georgia. That's a little confusing. So number 8 Kentucky versus Georgia. The Wildcats are 12-1 at home. They make 45.6 of their shots. This is giving them a 96% chance of winning this game. So I think Kentucky will have this in the bag. I completely love watching them. We have a huge matchup of number 4 South Carolina versus 7 UConn. Both teams are coming off a win. It's a top 10 matchup. The Gamecocks are 5-9 in the all-time series, but have won the last 4 games. I love Paige Buckers. She's going to be the number 1 draft pick. How are you feeling about this game for South Carolina?
I love the Gamecocks in college basketball. So I always love to watch them. And I think that they're a superstar team. And I think that they're going to pull it out. So,
Yeah, I definitely, I see it. Paige Buckers for UConn, she shoots 53.6% from the field, and she gets around 18, 19 points a game. But South Carolina is a deep team. And that's the difference, is that big games for UConn, Paige is out there basically the whole game. South Carolina can rotate their players. The last game against Texas, they had 8 Gamecocks that only played for 18 minutes. Only one of their players played for 30 minutes. Gamecocks also have Malaysia, who I absolutely adore. He averages 11.5 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist a game. And I think she's going to step up for this game. She's just so amazing to watch. Then you also have, for the Gamecocks, Joyce Edwards, who I think deserves Freshman of the Year. But I don't think that UConn is going to be able to compete against South Carolina's defense. And then we have the big SEC matchup, number 5 LSU versus number 3 Texas. The Longhorns are 13-0 in home games, and they're looking to keep that run clean. Who do you have for this game?
I'm going to pick LSU. I like this team a lot. I think they have to prove themselves in a big way, and I think beating Texas would be just that. So I like this team. I like their energy, and I'm going to go with LSU. What about you?
Yeah, I actually am going to go with Texas. Texas shoots 47.9% from the field, and they also have Madison Booker on their team, and she's 6'1" and averages 48.3%, and her mid-range jumper shot is just chef's kiss. So beautiful. She can hit 3. She's got some great blocks, and she just had her 5th double-double with 20 points against the Gamecocks. So to score that much on South Carolina, I just think she's going to do great. She scored double figures in 20 games this season. The only way I think LSU is going to win, they have to win the turnover battle. They average about 14 turnovers a game, and I believe they're 17-0 when they win the turnover battle. So if they can force turnovers, they end up winning the game. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be my favorite game of the day, other than, the UConn, South Carolina. And I mean, shout out to LSU. They have Flage, and I love Flage. She's just a magical person to watch. So it's going to be a really great day of college basketball. Also, I just want to apologize to everyone who's watched this episode. I have the worst scratchy voice today. It's cold season.
She has a beautiful, lovely Disney princess voice today. Everyone give her compliments.
I sound like the Wicked Witch.
No. You're like Belle or Ariel.
Oh, perfect. La, la, la.
There we go. It's beautiful. So,
Beautiful.
guys, what did you think about men's basketball this week? Obviously, Auburn is the standard here. So we're going to see if anybody can kind of dethrone them. Can Alabama beat them March 8th? So we're going to see. And then, obviously, watch women's basketball today. It's going to be a fun ride. So let us know in the comments who you think is going to win today, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.